But let's get into this final segment. Unfortunately, this is not an Is This Stupid segment. Unfortunately, I couldn't concoct anything to talk about in that aspect.
Just tell Mr. I forgot his act name, but T. Higgins. Tell T. Higgins to send us stuff. We go at it all day.
Oh yeah. So what we're going to be talking about in this final segment is going to be the most underrated Ravens on the roster. And this is not an underrated in terms of other teams don't know about them. This is an underrated between Ravens fans because we could name 10 Ravens that the national media doesn't talk about. I mean, heck, we could literally go through the entire offense. Just look at PFF's rankings, and you could say every single player on the Ravens besides Marlon and Marcus Peters by PFF are underrated. Like Lamar was he was some ridiculous number in the quarterback rankings. Mark Andrews was not high at all. J.K. Downs was number 27 in running back ranking. So this is not an external underrated because they're mostly underrated externally. Everybody only talks about Lamar and then the corners that we have. Externally, that's all they talk about. But we as Ravens fans, we know what the Ravens got. But there are still some players that I think are heavily overlooked on the Ravens roster. And Joshua, I want you to go first. We haven't talked about who our people are, so hopefully they aren't the same. Who's your most underrated?
Most underrated. Actually, I was reading an article. We're actually overcrowded at the skill position with a lot of depth. So I'm gonna take I'm gonna say Tyler Huntley. Yes, he is a backup quarterback. But when he got into the field, you saw that he has a quick instinct. I would say his instincts is a little quicker than Lamar's, for the simple fact that when he gets on the field, it's almost like he sees it a little faster. And by him being a little shorter than Lamar, he has to be on go mode. Usually as smaller athletes, think a little faster, move a little quicker. I mean, look at Tyreek Hill, guys like that. Who's the one quarterback that got put out his misery? But he thought, Pat White, that's the one. But he was thinking fast, even though he was playing for Miami. Yeah, it was either James Harrison that put him out of his misery or Lamar Woodley. It's on again. The point I'm saying is, being, eventually, yes, they're best friends. They root for each other, stuff like that. Eventually, guys like that are going to feel like, yo, I can lead a team. Let me just keep on showing out, keep on doing what I can do. I can do more than run the ball. People may even say Tyler Huntley showed that he's a little more accurate than Lamar Jackson. Not everybody has the throwing style of Lamar, or not everybody can throw a spiral ball, but does throwing a spiral ball make you the most accurate quarterback? I guess so. I guess that's what makes people happy, But neither here or there. Tyler Huntley can definitely produce, and actually, I feel like he can lead a team. He can lead a team to the playoffs. I'll say it now. If he was to go to maybe Washington, because Washington's one quarterback away. They're one quarterback. They're one quarterback away. If Aaron Rodgers don't decide to come back to the NFL, or going to the playoffs. So I definitely say Tyler Huntley, and I don't see us keeping 3 quarterbacks this season. I really don't.
I think I lied at the start of this segment. Maybe this isn't Is This Stupid segment. Maybe you decided to bring out the Is This Stupid without even telling me. I will say, I do agree, Tyler Huntley is underrated. But he is not more accurate than Lamar, and he doesn't see the field better than Lamar. He may be faster than Lamar. He may have a higher top speed than Lamar. Lamar's top speed is heavily overrated, in my opinion.
And that's the sad thing. We haven't even seen Lamar go his top speed.
Yeah.
I'm scared to see that.
Lamar is, though, however, he may be the quickest player in the history of the NFL. That's why people compare him to Barry, to I'm blanking on the name. I feel really stupid right now, but the running back for the Bears from the 60s. No, the one before him. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm blanking on his name. I literally don't know why I can't think of it right now. But y'all know who I'm talking about. Basically, you look at Lamar's running style and things like that. He is all quickness and agility, and basically goes out there and he dances around people. Tyler Huntley he's significantly more similar to Vic in his play style, in a sense that like he's gonna make one cut and he's gonna go. Yeah. And that's what he's gonna do. In terms of accuracy, I don't know how you can say he's more accurate than Lamar. When we saw him completely whiff against the Bills and overthrow what would have been the touchdown pass that could have made it literally a one possession game.
Hey man, look, Lamar is always on cruise control. The game, it's the funny thing for Lamar, the game had been slowed down for him. Like once he got in as a rookie, yeah, he made some hyper decisions or rookie mistakes, but he didn't overrush himself in a sense. Like you said, Tyler Huntley, he sees it, goes. That's why I feel like he's a underrated guy. I feel like with quarterbacks, they have 300 3 seconds to get the ball off. As soon as the ball is hiked, Tyler Huntley is using a half a second and he's trying to make his move, whether he's throwing it or running the ball. Lamar Jackson, we know how I love his work. I'm not about to say, I'm about to bash him because his boy is playing behind him. No, that's not the case at all, y'all. It's just for the simple fact I see different gears. Tyler Huntley is already going his fastest gear. Lamar,
yeah, but it's all okay. In a sense that, I mean, this isn't supposed to turn into a Tyler Huntley versus Lamar, but I feel like I like Tyler Huntley. I'm a big fan of him. But Lamar, the reason why he is so great is because he does play so slow. It's the same thing with Le'Veon Bell in his prime. He's going to go out there and he is so there was I think it was a video on TikTok that came out and it was talking about the 4 hoopers that you never want to go against. Mm-hmm. And it was the worst guy to go against is the guy that sets his own pace. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're trying to clamp him up and you get all up in his grill and he's just sitting there backing you down and he's like, no, you're not going to make me change my pace. It does not affect me. I can do whatever I want at my own speed. And that's Lamar. Yeah. Tyler Huntley has to play to the speed of other people because he's not good enough to be able to just sit back and do whatever he wants like Lamar's able to do. Tyler Huntley has to go a million miles. Same thing with Justice Hill. He has to go 100 miles an hour because slow it down fully. And I like Tyler Huntley. He's very young. He can definitely get better, but lead a team to the playoffs right now? Man, maybe I got to play the overrated category.
That's why I said it to an NFC team.
Yeah, you got to go to an NFC team.
That's why I sent it to an NFC team. I mean, listen, if there any Florida, and the funny thing is, we're going to have fans from Florida that's probably going to watch both of them play against each other, and maybe this segment then went from underrated player to the Florida versus the Florida boys. I don't know, y'all. Either way, if y'all like it, we love it. But I mean, listen, like I said, I love Lamar. I love how he can just cruise. That makes the game better for us. I mean, sometimes, I know you're a basketball fan, so I know you watch Jamal Crawford.
Oh yeah.
When you watch Jamal Crawford play ball, he keeps the ball on the string. Not only did he have that ball on the string, he never was the fastest. He wasn't like that fast dribbler, break your ankles. Just by his game being so smooth and, like you said, never changing his pace. That's like, Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, he'll bring you out. He'll clear the court. Hey, clear it out. He'll go to work on you. Steph Curry, it doesn't matter. He gonna shoot. That's what guys do. LeBron James. his game evolved, but y'all saw what happened. Y'all saw what happened in one of these playoff games. Everybody started laughing when he had the back down on Jay Crowder because he knew they knew what was going to happen. Granted, my guys are down right now. But
what's funny? When this gets released, there's a chance the Lakers are not in the playoffs anymore, Joshua.
McConnell, let's not.
This is coming out on Saturday. We're going
to pull it out. LeBron's going for 50 tonight.
50? Okay. I thought he was good. All right. Well, okay.
But nah, man. It's seriously, y'all. It's something it's something that I see in Tyler Huntley. I feel like watching somebody he played against, play with him, it makes you want to go out there and play better. Or, all right, well, look, this, my Florida brother, he did X, Y, Z. Let me go out here, keep the mojo going, keep it going, things like that. Like I said, man, I don't know. I see him wanting to prove himself more than like a Trace McSorley. I think Trace McSorley is fine. He's comfortable in being the backup role. But I feel like, someone that was a starter, someone that has that competitive edge, someone that, you can probably say, probably has that dog in him, is going to want to go somewhere where he can, finally start. And, from reading on some articles, I can see they're saying that we're not going to have 3 quarterbacks this year. So, if you see one go, unfortunately, I wanted to be Tyler Huntley. Now, is he good enough to get a starting job? Not yet, but he can battle another subpar QB for a job.
Yeah,
like I see that fight going against him and Heineke. Only reason I see the Washington picking Heineke over him because the guys play for him. Chase Young and the defensive guys and the offensive guys are going to root for Heineke to be that starting QB because they made it to the playoffs with him last year. So I mean, so maybe this is this stupid segment turned around.
It's a closeted is this stupid segment.
I like the the internal battles though. I love it, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go over my underrated player. I mean, Walden. Say that they're the greatest ever, but my underrated player was Hollywood Brown. I don't think it's a secret that I'm a massive fan of Hollywood Brown, and I think people are undervaluing him still in that they think now whether or not Rashad Bateman becomes that guy, negligible right now. Right now, Hollywood Brown, I have full faith in that he will be able. Like he is a number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. Like I see so many people saying like he should just become our slot wide receiver and things like that. And could he succeed in the slot? Yeah, probably could. However, Hollywood on the outside is still a very good wide receiver. He was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL in generating space per route run. And that's because he isn't a just standalone deep threat, which is what so many people think he is. He gets open. Now, does he drop a couple of passes? Yes, but it's not that consistently. He's had like 2 or 3 games where it's like, oh, he's just off this game. And obviously, people have been clowning him for the same moment ever since it happened. When, after that Pittsburgh game, everybody just for 5 weeks, people were like, Hollywood's so bad. I'm pretty sure he scored a touchdown in the next 5 weeks after that game in every game. Like he literally just balled out and nobody gave him any recognition because everybody's just so mad at him all the time. Like he balls out. And I know people are like, oh, but that Browns game, he dropped that pass. Yes. And he knows that. But he may be the hardest working player on the Ravens offense. And he's not somebody that brags about it. We see people where they're like, at all times, they're like, oh yeah, I've been working so hard. Like the reporters ask him and they're like, hey, what have you been doing this offseason to improve? And he's like, I just work every day because this is my job to get better. And he's like, I work 9 to 5 getting better. And things like that. And he just doesn't get the recognition that he deserves, in my opinion, for being a legitimate number 1 wide receiver. Because the Ravens, because if he puts up 1,000 yards, I think all Ravens fans are like, number one wide receiver. It doesn't matter how many yards you put up, especially in the Ravens offense where you're not going to get a 1,000-yard wide receiver unless you have Julio Jones or something like that. We're not getting a 1,000-yard wide receiver. I hope we do, but we just don't pass enough. So for him, he's the number one wide receiver in the NFL. Mm-hmm. He's not the worst number one wide receiver in the NFL. He's better than – I mean, I would take him over, whoever they have is technically the number one in Miami. I think it's technically Devontae Parker. I would take Hollywood over Devontae Parker. Things like that. I would take Hollywood over Terry McLaurin. I think a lot of people would get mad at me over that. I would take, there's only two wide receivers from that draft class I wouldn't take Hollywood over. That would be DK and A.J. Brown. I take him over Debo. I take him over whoever's in San Francisco, whether you say it's Ayuk or Debo Samuel. I think Hollywood Brown is the legitimate number one wide receiver, and he doesn't get any respect for it. So for me, he's my most underrated player.
I mean, of course he's not going to get respect. I mean, first of all, he's the little cousin to a crazy man, but also one of the best wide receivers handed down in the NFL to ever play the game. And also, he's a little guy. And, Ravens fans get so spoiled for the simple fact, they feel like, okay, he should be taking all types of hits. No, Marquise Brown is like 180. If he wants to run out of bounds, I want him to run out of bounds too. If he wants to avoid a tackle, I'm rooting for it. As long as he's going positive yardage, which he does. I definitely feel like he's one of the most he's an underrated guy for sure. And with all the additions with Sammy Watkins, even with the the additions with the coaching with T. Martin and Keith Williams, and the draft pick of Rashad Bateman. Yes, nobody's not talking about Marquise, and you know what? I like it.
Yeah.
For the simple fact that he can just go out there and just do his job. He can literally just go to work and continue being Lamar's for lifer, continue being Lamar's go-to target, and there's some things that I did see about Marquise where he's becoming more vocal. He's even becoming more vocal for this upcoming season, which I like. He's actually, when you see the maturity and growth in those players that's been there and understand what they want, and they on that same wavelength of chasing a Super Bowl, not just being a Pro Bowl, not being an All-Pro player, just a Pro or a Pro Bowl player, and not just going out there for their stats. It's gonna you're creating something special. And once Lamar, called Hollywood like, "Hey man, you coming to Baltimore?" That special reunion started from there.
Yeah.
And they've been growing ever since. And with Marquise going into his third year, man, I heard he's even challenging like the fourth string quarterback, like, hey, try to get your passes in so I can work on my toe taps on the sideline. I'm like, damn, he's getting that working. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And Dez Bryant showed y'all the videos that he can separate from wide receivers. Yes, I got mad that C.J. Jackson was running stride for stride with him, but C.J. Jackson is a good corner. When he did play against Denzel Ward, he gave Denzel Ward a run for his money. So he can make number one corners respect him.
UCDCs have to respect him every time because there's always a safety over top with Hollywood on that side of the field. I mean, you just see it. But I feel like that's a good way to wrap it up. So thank you everybody for listening to the full podcast, listening to this segment. This segment will be posted like probably around 2 p.m. on Saturday. So make sure to come to the live to the viewers at 5 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Have a lot of fun and things like that. But thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for listening. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content, and we'll see all of you again. Well, I guess at 5 p.m. So yeah.